Over the last 20 years, no team has been as successful as the Red Sox. Since 2004, they've won 4 World Series, but that doesn't mean every move they've made has been a good one. This one's for you, Yankees fans. These are the worst Red Sox contracts in recent memory. First, a couple bad trades. Jeff Bagwell could have been a franchise player for the Red Sox for over 10 years, wearing a Red Sox hat into the Hall of Fame, but no. At the trade deadline in 1990, the Red Sox traded him to Houston, getting back Larry Anderson. He was awesome for the Red Sox, posting a 1.23 ERA in 22 games, but he didn't pitch well in the ALCS and the Red Sox fell to the A's. On the other hand, Jeff Bagwell won the NL Rookie of the Year in 1991, and 15 years later, 449 home runs later, and a plaque in Cooperstown later, this wasn't a good trade for the Red Sox. Next, I'm sure it was very hard to trade away Mookie Betts after the 2019 season. This was the very definition of a franchise player. He was the 2018 AL MVP, helped them win a World Series, but he was entering the last year of his contract, and the Red Sox were trying to get under the luxury tax. They did this by trading Betts to the Dodgers and throwing in David Price. They got a good package back. Alex Verdugo was set to be the next big star, but he hasn't really improved since his debut in 2017. He's been solid, just above an average player, but doesn't come close to replacing Mookie Betts in right field. They also got Connor Wong. He's finally putting in a full season this year, and he's been a below average offensive player. You can blame it on youth, but he's already in his age 27 season. Then there's Jeter Downs, the highly touted first round draft pick, and he just hasn't panned out yet. He played 14 games for the Red Sox in 2022, hit 154 with a 427 OPS, and the Red Sox sent him packing. He's on the Nationals this year. Finally, there's Babe Ruth. In 1919, the Red Sox sent him to the Yankees in exchange for $100,000. All he did for the Red Sox in 1919 was lead the league in home runs, runs scored, RBI, on-base percentage, slugging, OPS, OPS plus, and total bases. Oh, and he pitched 133 innings and had a 2.97 ERA. So yeah, I hope they didn't spend that $100,000 all in one place. Number 5. Daisuke Matsuzaka. Whenever a big-name Japanese player wants to come over, the teams have to offer a big posting fee. The Red Sox outbid several other teams, including the Yankees, and they landed the big prize. All they had to do was put up over $51 million. As far as the contract was concerned, they gave him $52 million over 6 years. He started out good enough. He pitched over 200 innings in 2007, a 4.40 ERA, finished 4th in Rookie of the Year, and helped the Red Sox win the World Series. His best season by far came in 2008. 29 starts, 18 wins, 3 losses, 2.90 ERA, finishing 4th in the Cy Young. He pitched in the 2009 World Baseball Classic, and that was a point of concern for the Red Sox. Turns out, he did hurt his right hip while training for it. He only put in 12 starts that year, finishing with a 5.76 ERA, and that was the beginning of the end. He put in close to a full season in 2010, 25 starts and a 4.69 ERA, but in 2011, he only made 7 starts before going down with Tommy John, returning in 2012 where he made 11 starts with an 8.28 ERA. The contract came to a merciful end, and between his contract and posting fee, the Red Sox paid out over $100 million, all for a guy that averaged 19 starts a season and ended with a 4.52 ERA, just barely league average. Number 4. Rusney Castillo. Another international free agent, this time from Cuba. Castillo signed on with the Red Sox for 7 years and $72.5 million. This happened at the end of August in 2014, and less than a month later, he made his major league debut. He had 12 hits and 36 at-bats. That's a 3.33 average and a 9.28 OPS. He started 2015 in the minors, but put in 80 games, a 6.47 OPS and 72 OPS plus. He would spend almost all of 2016 in the minors, only stepping up to the plate 8 times for the Red Sox that year, and he would never see a major league field ever again. He would stay in the Red Sox minor league system for the next 3 years, having the option to opt out of his contract after the 2019 season but chose not to, finishing off his 7-year contract in the minors. In 2021, he would go and play in Japan. He turned out to be a very expensive minor league player, making more than $10 million a year, but the Red Sox wanted him in the minors. This way, they could avoid paying the luxury tax. He didn't play that well in the limited time he had in Boston, but the Red Sox never gave him a real chance. Number 3. Carl Crawford. He made a name for himself in Tampa, playing for the Rays between 2002 and 2010, that last year being by far his best. He hit 19 homers, drove in 90, stole 47 bags, hit 307 and a career-high 851 OPS, adding a Gold Glove to his Silver Slugger and 7th place AL MVP finish. The Red Sox had a front row seat for his dominance, and they wanted him on their side. They gave him 7 years, $142 million, and he would join the Sox for the 2011 season. It would not go well. He hit 9 fewer home runs, his stolen bases were down 29, average down 52 points, OPS down 157, OPS plus down 50, and it was this play on the last day of the 2011 season that ended the Red Sox season, sealing their collapse. He started 2012 with a wrist and elbow injury, finally making his debut right around the All-Star break, and a month later, he would be shelved for Tommy John surgery. 2 days after his surgery, he was traded to the Dodgers, a throw-in piece the Dodgers had to accept in order to trade for Adrian Gonzalez. That 7-year contract only lasted a year and change for Boston before it came to a merciful end. The Dodgers would assume $106 million of that contract, so that appears to mean the Red Sox had to pay about $36 million. Afterward, Crawford said the Red Sox environment was toxic, and while playing on the team, he was in a depression stage. The team was in a bad place in the second half of 2011, so these comments aren't all that surprising. This contract was horrible, but the Red Sox were able to pawn off most of it on the Dodgers. Number 2, Chris Sale. The Red Sox got him after a trade in 2016, and his first 2 seasons were great. He led the league in innings pitched in 2017 with 214, also led in strikeouts with 308, posted a .290 ERA, and finished second for Cy Young. The next year, he was even better. He put in less work, but his ERA over 27 starts was .211 as the Red Sox won the World Series. The last year of that contract was 2019, and his numbers slipped big time. When they signed him, they didn't think he needed Tommy John, and they thought he would be ready to go on opening day. However, in March 2020, Sale and the team went ahead with Tommy John, ending his season and impacting the 2021 season. He didn't make his return until August, 2 full calendar years since his last appearance, and he only pitched in 9 games that year. Still, he should have been healthy and ready to go for 2022, but that was just a series of unfortunate events. It started when he fractured a rib while throwing BP at FGCU. 5 days after his return to the Red Sox, he fractured his finger after getting hit by a line drive. 3 weeks later, Sale was riding his bike and broke his wrist, and that ended his season. This incident even made Chaim Bloom joke about someone having a Chris Sale voodoo doll. 2023 has been better. He did miss 2 months with an injury to the scapula, but as of when I'm writing this, he's made 16 starts and has a .446 ERA. He's in year 4 of this 5-year deal, and he's made 27 starts, 16 this year and 11 over his first 3 years. This has been a big waste of money. Number 1, Pablo Sandoval. The Kung Fu Panda made himself a big star in San Francisco, a huge part of the 3 World Series titles. In 2014, the last play he made for the Giants was catching the World Series winning pop-up. He hit free agency as a hot commodity, and Ben Cherington wanted to make a splash. He got 5 years and $95 million, right in his prime at age 28. But he came to the Red Sox overweight and out of shape, playing 126 games in 2015 and posting career lows across the board. However, he led the majors in chase rate, swinging at almost 50% of the balls outside the strike zone. He didn't play well during spring training in 2016, and Travis Shaw took the starting third base job from him. He played only 3 games in 2016 before going down for shoulder surgery. He won his starting job back before the 2017 season, but he was only hitting .212. He landed on the DL with an inner ear infection in June, and by the All-Star break, the Red Sox DFA'd him, officially releasing him 5 days later. He was only on the roster for 2.5 of those 5 years, but played a total of 161 games, batting .237, hitting 14 home runs, posting a .646 OPS and a .71 OPS plus. The Red Sox released him with $48 million still in the books. Those are the worst of the worst Red Sox contracts, at least in recent memory. There are some other guys that Red Sox fans seem to hate, but they weren't bad enough for this list. In 2007, J.D. Drew signed a 5-year, $70 million deal, and he helped the Red Sox win the World Series in his first year. Yes, he did put up his worst stats with the Red Sox over those 5 years, but he was able to stay on the field and had an .824 OPS, so he wasn't bad by any means. Hanley Ramirez is a similar story. He signed a 4-year, $88 million deal before the 2015 season, and he could never recapture his superstar status. He was so good in Florida, then had 2.5 good seasons with the Dodgers, so at age 31, he was still a big deal. He hopped around positions, moving to left field to make room for Pablo Sandoval, and in 2015, his OPS dropped 100 points. He also didn't have a good time in left field. He was the bottom-ranked defender in the American League. He would move to first base in 2016 and had a good season. 30 homers, 111 RBI, his average back up to .286 and OPS up to .866, his highest since 2009. Once David Ortiz retired, he became the Red Sox DH, but his numbers suffered once again, returning to a below-average player. In his final year of the contract, he played 44 games, and after a bad slump, the Red Sox DFA'd him and released him. Before the 2005 season, EDGAR Renteria signed a 4-year, $40 million deal. He put in a full season, and his numbers were almost identical to his previous All-Star season in St. Louis. His defense, however, was atrocious. He put up a negative defensive WAR and committed 30 errors, almost tripled his number from 2004 and led the majors. The Red Sox traded him after just one season. John Lackey made a name for himself with the Angels, giving them 8 seasons and even finishing third for the Cy Young in 2007. Once he hit free agency, he went to the Red Sox, 5 years and $83.5 million. In 2010, his ERA spiked more than half a run to 4.40, and in 2011, he led the league in earned runs allowed, posting a 6.41 ERA. He missed all of 2012 with Tommy John, but made a fast comeback and pitched very well in 2013. 29 starts and a 3.52 ERA, helping the Red Sox win the World Series. He also had a pretty good start to the 2014 season, but at the deadline, the Red Sox traded him to St. Louis. This was not a great contract, but also not one of the worst. How about David Price? He established himself as a superstar in Tampa, and in his contract year, he had a league-best 2.45 ERA between the Tigers and the Blue Jays. He got 7 years and $217 million from the Red Sox going into the 2016 season, and right away, he led the league with 230 innings pitched. His ERA also spiked to 3.99. He had an injury-riddled 2017 season, only starting 11 games, but made a nice comeback in 2018, 30 starts and a 3.58 ERA. He always had struggled in the playoffs, but in the 2018 World Series, he was huge. 2 starts, 3 appearances, and a 1.98 ERA. 2019 wasn't good, 22 starts and a 4.28 ERA. Now, the Red Sox were looking to offload his contract. When they traded Mookie Betts to the Dodgers, they made the Dodgers take Price as well. He helped the Red Sox win a ring, and they were able to spare the last 3 years of his deal, but he was not worth the money. That's all for this video. Let me know what you think of my picks, and if anyone else should have been on here. Also, it's not just the Red Sox. I have a playlist with other teams' bad contracts. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like. And if you're new here and love baseball content, please give me a sub. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.